we stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Madam President, members of the board, we have a few changes to the agenda. Under learning services, we will remove number 2, action item Title II application. Cross that out. We will remove action number 4, action Title IV application. We have not received those from the federal government yet. And then on the bottom of the agenda, under support services, special projects, and other items, item E, action item, Route 66 outdoor classroom code. We will remove that, and I will bring it back to you in June after I go over it in more detail, some modifications. Okay, so Madam President, with those changes to the agenda, I recommend the approval and adoption of tonight's regular meeting agenda.
We have a recommendation from Superintendent Viviano to make a change to our agenda for tonight to remove Articles 2 and 4 from learning services and item E from 7 on action regarding outdoor classroom to our agenda for this evening. Do I have a motion? Okay. One. That's it? Okay. Second?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. We are
All
good.
right,
Good.
thank you very much. All right, welcome to yes, Madam President.
Yes, look at our room. It's full. It's so nice to see everybody here. Welcome.
Thank
It's so
you.
nice to have a big group. And we look forward to what we're going to cover tonight. So hold on and we'll get
Hold on.
and we'll get
All right. Thank you, Madam President.
Uh-huh.
Madam President, I recommend approval of minutes from our regular meeting from April 16, 2024, as is.
We have a recommendation from Superintendent Viviano to accept the minutes, approval of the minutes from April 16th, 2024. Any questions or changes or comments? Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes.
A second?
My second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes.
All right. Madam President, citizen comments. We have one here.
Okay.
Doesn't have a name.
Tom McGill.
Oh, it's Thomas, okay. Sorry, Mr. McGill. All right.
Thank you. Tom McGill, 12 Buck Road, Hazel, New Mexico. I am not privy to what goes on internally. All I have is what is presented to the public. I think there's a serious error in the last presentation, and I didn't see any correction tonight. So what I'm going to call out is in the slide show that was last presented, for the Edgewood Elementary School, there are columns called 67% local contribution, 35% IPCOC or whatever that is, and then the total. In the last presentation, as I read it, the numbers are incorrect. The local contribution is $350,000 short, and what you're expecting from ICPOC is about $600,000 more than you were going to get. And I apologize if I'm incorrect, but the heading is what it is, and the numbers are what they are, and the other numbers for the Route 66 and so on are consistent, and what was shown tonight was also consistent. So I would recommend, I think, to verify what I said. There's no explanation for why those numbers, there's no explanation on the presentation why those numbers are inconsistent. If I am incorrect, that's, I apologize. But if I'm not incorrect, that's when you include the $135,000 in architect's fee, that's about $1 million. That's about $1 million error. So I was gonna implore you to not take this thing off the table, but look at it, because this is one of the more important numbers. Because I think if you look at the actual cost of creating a vacant lot where Edgewood Elementary School is, you're going to find that it's not prudent to do that when you look at the real cost. The second thing I would like to say very quickly is that I had nothing to do with it, but I noticed that there was a town meeting in Edgewood, and on the town site they addressed a lot of the issues they had with losing Edgewood Elementary School, the cost to the town, to the community, I'd rather say, because we're all one big community. And I'm not sure, it's hard to find on the website, but I can, if anybody's interested in that, I think you ought to look at what part of the community is considering, especially since among the things they point out is that all the information up to this far was done with staff members and not really, the community was not very well represented. So those were not my arguments, so I'll let that stand on its own. And thank you for your consideration. If I'm out of line, I apologize.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. See any other cat? Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Madam President, members of the board, and our audience. We're moving on to staff recognition and student recognition. Very pleased on our first item under staff recognition to have two of our teachers with us. We have Miss Anita Pacheco, I saw with us, if she would come up please, and Miss Lori Chavez will come up. All right. So I will read tonight. Mrs. Pacheco, come on together. Come on together. Mrs. Pacheco and Ms. Chavez are going to be receiving the Excellence in Student Achievement Award. This award is sponsored by the New Mexico School Boards Association and presented to individuals selected by local boards of education throughout New Mexico who have played an important role in improving student achievement in their local school district. Ms. Pacheco has been with the school district 18 years. 18 years, so yes, thank you very much. She's taught all of those years at Moriarty Elementary, if I'm correct, and you've taught kindergarten, 3rd grade, and 4th grade, right? And 4th grade. And Ms. Lori Chavez, she's been with the district altogether 24 years. Taught at Moriarty Elementary School and is currently at Route 66 as our 4th grade teacher. But she's also been in our 3rd grade classrooms and in our 5th grade classrooms, right? And so I'd like to, if you could, and you guys can take pictures with them, present each one of them and thank them for all their hard work and dedication, and congratulate them in receiving this Excellent in Student Achievement Award tonight. So there you go. They each prepared a 5-minute speech, right?
You're not little kids.
All right.
Thank you. With Mrs. Pacheco and Mrs. Chavez tonight are family members, so I'd also like to say thank you to their family members for supporting our district, supporting Lori and Anita, and it's great. It's great work that they've done, and we can't have enough great teachers like that in our school district. So congratulations again, ladies. Moving on to some student recognition now. Mr. Anaya, I saw you. Oh, there you are over there, Joe. Yeah. Mr. Anaya, we have our Moriarty High School spring sports teams with us. So track was not able to make it tonight. track and their banquet. State track meet was Friday and Saturday. They tried to squeeze the banquet in before their seniors graduate on Friday, right? So that's why they scheduled it tonight, because last night was baccalaureate for some of the students attended. Tomorrow is an awards night. Thursday is barbecue and practice for graduation, how to line up and sit down properly and whatnot. And so tonight was unfortunately the only night before graduation. So, Mr. Nye, it's all yours.
Members of the board, Madam President, Superintendent Bibiano, we want to introduce our spring sports tonight. As he said, track's not able to be here. They had their banquet, but we do want to talk about athletes that did well at the state track meet. We do have 2 state champions, Presley Edwards in the javelin. She broke a school record and threw 127 feet 10 inches. Antonio Munoz in the 400-meter dash. He ties his own school record with that. We had 2 second-place finishes in one in the long jump, Presley Edwards again. Our 4x4 relay team. We had a 3rd place finish in the javelin with Andrea Rector. 4x200 in the girls. 4x100 with the girls also, and a 4th place finish in the medley relay. 4th place finish in the 4x4 with the girls. The boys took 2nd in the 4x4. We had 5th place in the 4x200 relay. 5th place in the hurdles with Victoria Alvarado taking 5th. She was in 2nd, had a trip up, almost 1st, right? She was pretty close to winning it. Tripped up on the hurdle, rolled herself into 5th place, and a 5th place with Isaac Dominguez in the hurdles as well. Overall, at state, our girls took 4th and our boys took 7th, correct? 7th. So that's our track. Coach McDonough and Cher was not able to make it tonight. She got called away at the last second, but she did send me some notes. They finished the season with 16 girls. They had 21 at one time, and they took 8th at state in the co-ed game day competition. So that was her notes. Next up, I want to call up our softball coach, Coach Patricia Gallegos, to talk about the softball season. Coach?
Hi, so I'm Patricia. I'm the head softball coach, graduate of Moriarty. This is my 3rd year coaching the girls. We were lucky enough to finish 3rd in our district this year. We had some struggles with injuries along the way, so we were fortunate enough to call up 6th, 8th graders from Moriarty and from Edgewood Middle School to come help our JV finish the year. We finished 14-11. JV finished 5-16-1, which is fantastic, knowing that we had 6th, 8th graders and a team of 10. So we're hoping to continue to build the program. We love our facility, so thank you guys very much. It's been really nice not having goat heads in your car and in your shoes every day, so that's fabulous. We had 3 girls that got 1st team all district and 3 girls that got 2nd team all district. And Isabella Gallegos actually was the MVP of our entire district with 178 strikeouts, and she finished batting. Her batting average was .698. Her primary position was pitcher, but she couldn't do it with everybody behind her. So that was a fabulous recognition by all the other coaches across our districts. So with that, we thank you guys for the support, and we look forward to seeing you guys at our games next year. So.
We're going to invite our 1st-year head baseball coach, Ben Gonzalez, with baseball. Ben this year was voted on by his peers as the district baseball coach of the year.
I'm Coach Gonzalez, and I've got a couple of my guys with me. We had a pretty good year this year. Finished 10-11, 2nd in district. Out of 10 seniors, is that what it was? 10 seniors, and they really built a foundation for me, and I really appreciate them. All these guys up here with me were all district players. They don't know that yet because we haven't had our banquet. Now they know it. Our JV was 10-5. But like she said, our facility is awesome. These kids loved it. I mean, it's a whole lot different than the other stuff, right, guys? really, that's all I got. Pretty successful year. I don't know if any of these guys want to say anything. I brought the fire ones
The finest you've ever heard them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a whole lot of fun this year, and hope to see you guys out there. Watch us in the future.
Also a first year head coach, Kevin O'Grady, for tennis.
Thank you guys for having us. Mr. O'Grady, I know some of you, I also teach at the middle school. First year high school tennis coach, had no idea what I was doing, but I was lucky I had these two by my side, and really the whole team. We had a very full team this year. I was very proud to represent the district as we traveled across the state playing tennis at various spots. Our district is incredibly difficult tennis-wise. They just have these programs they build up year after year. So I don't have these amazing records to share with you, but these two were a part of a doubles team, separate doubles team, one for the boys and one for the girls. And they won at least their first round in our individual district tournament up in Taos. McKenna Hatton and Kate Hernandez. McKenna was on a doubles team with Ziva Goldfine, and they beat a 4 seed. And that's saying something because the night before there was a 3-hour district coaches meeting where everyone was debating the way seeding was going to happen for these other schools. Moriarty, there was no question we weren't going to get seeded. It's okay. But McKenna and Ziva took down the 4th seed, I think Los Alamos, right? So that was freaking awesome. Kate's a senior. I had both these kids in middle school, so I'm very pleased to bring them along. They would like to say just something briefly. So thank you guys.
I had a 9-1. My singles record was a 9-1. I lost 1, and it was against Taos. We went into a 3-hour match. I lost in a double tiebreaker. Really sad. I had a good season. I was lucky enough to make it to the second round of districts. We lost against Santa Fe Prep, and we actually won. It was the score was 2-6, 2-6. So we got some score in there, but it wasn't the best. But it was a good learning opportunity because they've been playing since they were 4 and private training. But it was a good opportunity.
Congratulations.
I had a lot of fun. Me and my best friend Joaquin, we did really good in doubles. For a while, we were undefeated for about 4 or 5 games. And, we just made a lot of friends on the way. On other teams, we made friends with other people. And just had a lot of fun. I made good friends.
I think Kate played for 4 years, so yeah, he was committed. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
And finally, with Coach Tony Chavez and Mirage.
Come on, guys.
So I'm Tani Chavez, and this is 20-some years, I don't know, I lose track. I think it's 21, 22, there's debate there. But 20-some years coaching at Moriarty High School, and it's just been a pleasure and an honor, and I really, really love what I do. We started our year with 4 young ladies, and they were all brand new dancers, no experience. I think there's very few coaches who can say they start their year with no experience as far as dance team goes or basketball, that type of thing. And we started scratch, so it was a little scary, it was a little intimidating. We finished our year with 7. These young ladies far surpassed anything that I could have imagined that they could have done. And as they did that, they did it with, we've had a few years of years that weren't the best, not necessarily talent-wise, but just the cohesiveness of our team. And as a coach, we all know that if you don't have that team dynamic, it's sometimes hard to make a team really successful. And so I feel like this is one of our most successful years that we had because these girls came together and they kind of rejuvenated something that had been missing from Mirage the past few years. And they really, really are just genuinely the biggest pleasure that I've had coaching in quite some time, to be honest. And they have made me fall in love with coaching again and kind of renewed my faith that the culture that Mirage always had could exist again. And I kind of questioned that for some years there. And these guys absolutely made me believe again. I said, you know, we get to the end of the year, and as coaches, we're just all tired, especially for us. Our season starts in May and it ends in April. And so we're year-round. We never really stop. And by the end, you're normally like, when, like, okay, don't call me. State's over. We're done. I didn't want my year to end. I wanted to keep going. These guys have been just such a pleasure. At state this year, our goal was to not be in last place and not be at the tail end, because there's some strong competition. They restructured our division, so we competed A through 4A. And so in the A through 3A, there's some really, really strong, phenomenal teams. And in the 4A, there's some really strong, phenomenal teams. And coming out sixth, which was sitting right in the middle of all of those teams, was really, really more than we could have ever asked for. And we were in close behind those teams. And so if they had not restructured, and we were just 4A competing, we would have been in fourth place. So what these guys did at state was phenomenal. What Mirage does, we teach dance and all of that, and I've had some of some of your children on my team, and it teaches them self-esteem and confidence, and kind of breaking out of the shell. It's hard to get in front of an audience of people at a basketball game and perform a routine and remember everything that you're doing and do it with a smile and make sure that and these guys, I want them to be amazing dancers, but they really are amazing young ladies, and the self-confidence that changes in them, and to see them kind of change into different people by the end of the year, that's my biggest pride. And I have the help. So we have two of our freshmen with us today. We have Sydney and we have Carly. And I also have my assistant, Coach Shady. And Coach Shady is actually a Mirage alumni. So she danced for me for 4 years, a few years back. And I am very, very blessed to have her working alongside of me as my assistant. And maybe eventually, years down the road, we have our future Mirage coach maybe in the room as well. When that time ends, Coach Ryan keeps tacking on to, I said 8 several years back, but he hasn't taken it away. And so eventually I will not do this anymore. And when that does happen, I know that this program will stay in good hands, because to me, Mirage is a tradition of excellence and a tradition of young ladies that do really, really special and amazing things. I truly believe that, and that's why I'm still here 20-some years later. People like Shady and all these young ladies are an example of what Mirage does. And again, I know what these young ladies are going to accomplish. I'm excited for the next few years with these guys as they come up. I'm really, really excited about it. So I don't really like talking in front of people. That's really hard. Carly wrote something, and now she's like, we're not going to go there. Shady, do you have anything that you want to touch on?
I'm so happy to be able to help Tanya coach these girls. They're fun to be around. They make us laugh all throughout practice, even when it's supposed to be serious moments. They're making us laugh, and it's just fun to be back.
Yeah. And we have little Savannah, who one day, that's the future of Mirage right there, and she'll be dancing with them right alongside. Yeah. So we thank you so much for your guys' support, and thank you for sharing your children with us as well, because it makes a huge difference. And so we really appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach, and I appreciate it. Thank you, coaches, for all the many, many hours you put in, not just in season but off season, right? To support our student athletes, right? It's about the support that coaches have, but the sport that they coach, but it's building the character, building our student athletes to quality, productive citizens. So thank you, and if there's any family members of coaches in here or assistant coaches that helped out, thank you for all your time and effort. All right, so we will now move to, there's a future softball player.
She's done.
Yeah. National History Day students and staff. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
I guess I'm Miss Staff, maybe? Yeah? Okay, good. I'm Miss Page, Heather Page. I have to designate that, but I teach at Moriarty Middle School, and I have a couple of my middle school students here. I have Carmelita, John Wayne, and Peyton. Carmelita and her team are going to nationals with their website. And National History Day is all about project-based learning. I'll let the high schoolers sort of speak for themselves, but my middle schoolers did so well because Peyton and John Wayne are sixth graders, and to do such a huge research project as a sixth grader, and primary, secondary sources, really putting context and, just it's a lot to write thesis statements and support their thesis. It's a big deal. Peyton went to state with her board, and it's actually set up out in the lobby, so on your way out, if you guys want to check it out, it's awesome. And then John Wayne did a board also. We didn't set it up because his partner's not here because he's at the banquet also, I think. So, but they did awesome. We also have one more student going to nationals with a documentary. He got first place in state, and Carmelita's team got second place in state. So it's awesome that the school board and the district are so supportive of our program, because I know other students aren't. I know other state finalists that are going to DC, they just say, okay, parents, get your kids there. But our district is so supportive of our kids to help us get to DC to represent Moriarty and represent New Mexico. So, and high schoolers, if you guys want, I know a few of them are wearing their medals, which is awesome. So if you guys want to each say what place you got, maybe in state, or what your project name was, go for it.
Get to go for it.
Oh, good, this side, okay.
Hi, my name's Alicia. Me and my partner, Mackenzie, we did a group exhibit on the Rwanda genocide, and through this process, we've been able to really interview survivors of the genocide and educators, and we really were able to really learn a lot through this process.
This is our 4th year, both of us, doing NHD, and I think we've both learned a lot throughout the years, and we've done a variety of topics, but yeah, like Alicia said, this year we're doing the Rwandan genocide, which is a really complex topic, and we're doing an exhibit on it, so like the one set up there, that's what our project looks like. We're excited to get to go to DC again this year too.
My name is Lana Dominguez. My partner is not here today. She is on orientation for college. So I'm Lana Dominguez, and then she is my partner, Hannah Davis. Our project is the 1917 El Paso gas baths, the toxic turning point in border health policy, and we've been able to interview different historians and different people who are experts on this topic and really dig into a long forgotten history that isn't taught in history books. So we've just been able to dig up that history and just show it to people. We also did an exhibit, and we took second at state also.
Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew Ritter, and
Kenna.
we had another partner, Mohan Patel. He's not here right now. But anyways, so our project was a group website called He Who Opposes Is a Corpse: The Rise of the Khmer Rouge in the Genocidal Turning Point of Cambodia. And essentially, what our topic was about how the Khmer Rouge, which was this small communist guerrilla group, took over Cambodia in the bloody Cambodian Civil War, and eventually, engaged in this long, brutal genocide that it was horrible. And McKenna, what would you like to say?
We interviewed a lot of survivors, and a journalist who was the only, her and another American that were the only ones in Cambodia during the war. So we got to interview her and get her insight, and then a survivor. So we learned a lot about it, and we took second at state.
I'm Julie Autry. I did an individual exhibit, and it's a little less morbid than the rest of them. I did mine on the Women's Armed Service Integration Act, and it helped me to understand how an act back in 1948 impacts my future directly, and how women before then had struggled with getting career options and different things like that. Outside of the actual projects that we build, I would like to say that NHD is an incredibly understanding program. I know that we have a few student leaders and athletes in here who are all involved in something else. I can't tell you your sister part, but Carmelita and Annalisa were also part of the softball team. They were the 8th graders that were pulled up for the JV team, and I was consistently impressed with them on a regular basis. And I would like to also recognize Destiny in the back for also being one of the amazing players that we had. Thank you.
Great. Yeah. Thank you
With
for having us here.
your medal.
Yeah.
Would it-
Oh, second list, sorry.
Any questions for us?
That's nationals.
Nationals June 8th, so we'll leave June 8th, and then it's, I think we compete on the 11th, 12th?
It depends.
Yeah, the juniors, the middle schoolers compete on one day, the high schoolers compete on another day, and then the awards are the last day, so we'll be on for about 5 days. So.
You already ship off the
No, we're actually driving them out this year because, shipping them is dangerous because if you go out to the lobby and see how tall they are, and it's a big deal, and it's $300 to ship them, and we did do that.
Last year was
on
really
the
stressful
plane.
getting them because I got mine on the airplane last year, so
Cut them
driving
in
that's a lot
half,
easier.
we cut them in half and put them in a box. It was terrible, and we put them back together. This year they're being driven out. The humanities department is supporting us with that. They're going to pay for a van to drive them out, so because that is very stressful. So I'm sad that Peyton didn't make it to nationals, but it also is somewhat of a huge relief. Because once you see the board, shipping, like I said, is $300 for that shape and size of project. So it's a big deal. So Carmelita's website, easy. It is uploaded, and the documentary is on YouTube. I can share it with all of you if you'd like. It's the website and the documentary. I'll share it with you. It's neat. Their shirts this year are Smokey Bear because it's his 80th birthday. And that was their project this year, how Smokey Bear, the real bear cub found in New Mexico, was a turning point for fire prevention and the ad campaign. So it puts New Mexico on the map. So, and Peyton loves art, so her project is on Picasso. And John Wayne's, because his partner is Frankie Romero, theirs was about Abraham Lincoln. He's loved Abraham Lincoln since he was 2 years old. So it was his flatboat journey down the Mississippi that formed his turning point in history. So some really great projects, and yeah, again, thank you for the support. It really makes it a lot easier to teach these kids these essential skills for now and college. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
All right. So that concludes our staff and student recognition as we wind down the school year, right? And we'll start wrapping it up again in August for sure. So let everybody run away.
Thank you.
The only ones that cannot run away, I think, are Mr. Adams. We have
What is it down?
okay, all right. So we do have we are a high school student council representative.
All of our friends
Thank
are
you,
leaving.
parents. Thank you.
Okay, I feel like I don't need to introduce myself, so hello. I'm the historian for Student Council, and as we close in on this year's school year, we are prioritizing prom and graduation. So to touch base on both, prom, we had a very successful outcome, and graduation, we are very excited to allow the community to see this year's ceremony. We hope you guys will be as pleased as we are as we come up on it. And in preparation for next year, we are undergoing the procedure to appoint new officers and preparing to other assemblies like homecoming, which in previous school years we have not done this year's. We have not undergone this year's preparation like we have years previous, so we are hoping to prepare and make everything better as we are undergoing a learning experience. So we are very excited for this year's community to see everything that's going on, and we hope to see you all at graduation. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Everybody's done it. So cute, Tom. I wasn't prepared. You threw me on the bus.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
All right. Madam President, members of the board, move on to principals and athletic directors reports. Any questions for building principals or Mr. Anaya?
You already gave us all the good stuff.
Yeah.
No, your reports are full of good stuff again. I mean, with the end of the year, all the field trips, and looks like there's some good testing results. I know Mr. G the other day was sharing that he was excited about getting his some good reports back. So I just appreciate all of you and the work that you put into making your school so good, and the kids doing good and having fun. I love your pictures, and thank you for all you do.
Anybody else?
Starting away, I scan.
Yeah.
All right, and then we'll move on.
All right.
To Board President and Board of Education comments.
I just appreciate all the help that we're getting, trying to understand budgets for being the new year and trying to follow everything and keep track of us to keep us on the straight and narrow, so I appreciate it. And help us learn to get better and help everybody else. So thank you for the short time we've been here, and thank you for the help. I really do appreciate it.
Just to clarify, as far as part of the FMP process, there's no consolidation of middle schools or any action as far as in regards to the Edgewood Elementary site. That's just clear.
On that second set of options, yes, sir.
It's just clear.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Yep. That's a good point of clarification. Then we went over in the work session. Yeah. Okay. Good. All right, move to superintendent's report. So on February 20th, in our board meeting, we did have an action item to approve the first set of options that were presented for the facilities master plan. The board moved to table that action, and so I'd like to make a recommendation to take from the table the action for the 2024-2029 facilities master plan.
Mr. Superintendent Viviano has recommended that we remove from the table the 2024 through 29 facilities master plan. Are there any questions or comments?
You're just saying remove that discussion for plan
To move
one.
forward.
Yeah, it was tabled, so now we're moving it so we can move forward with it.
Okay.
So we'll need a motion, two motions, and yeah.
A motion?
I
You?
move to take action.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Good.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so I did have on here discussion if any, we want to talk any more above and beyond the work session, but I think we have good groundwork and direction with Ms. Donner. Thank you for pointing out priority 2 funds that were allocated for the old woodshop building. And so I did leave this as a discussion item to see if we had anything else that anyone want to bring up.
No, I thought we discussed everything and moved it to where we needed to.
Okay. Okay, everybody good with that then?
No more questions? Okay.
Okay. So, Madam President, members of the board, I recommend that the 2024-2029 Facilities Master Plan as presented through the second set of options in the work session, with knowing that the funds that were allocated in priority 2 for the old wood shop be reallocated to priority number 3, in particular the installation of high quality camera systems throughout the schools. Okay, does that make sense?
That makes sense.
The only
Now I have.
part I want to add to it is because it was like $7,000 in the priority one for the wood shop. You said priority 2.
Oh, there was a priority one, so go ahead. Okay,
There was
all right,
7,000.
thank you. Thank you. So, Madam President, members of the board, I recommend action on 2024-2029 Facilities Master Plan as presented through the second set of options today in our work session. All money that was allocated through priority 1 or priority 2 for the old wood shop that is an option to be demolished, that money is a savings, and that will be moved into priority 3, in particular, option 3, in particular, the cameras and camera software and computers that would go with it, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And that's pending your checking with capital AE just to make sure.
Yeah. You can just say per
As
my
stated,
recommendation.
as per Mr. Superintendent Viviano's recommendation,
to move forward with the 2024-2029 Facilities Master Plan with the second edition and the corrections made to it. I need a motion.
Make a motion to approve the 2024-2029 master plan.
Okay.
Option 2.
Option 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. Did you say a second?
Or does he need to restate that or no?
Okay, I'll restate it. I'll make a motion to approve the 24 to 29 facility master plan option 2 with the approved options that we discussed at the work session.
Okay. Is there a second?
A second.
All those approved?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Approved.
Good. All right, moving on to item 4 under superintendent's report, MESD school board resolution. So this resolution, I will read it out loud for the public and for record. Resolution of the Moriarty Edgewood School District in support of New Mexico School, in support of New Mexico Superintendents Association's effort to challenge the New Mexico Public Education Department's 180-day rule. Whereas the Moriarty Edgewood School District, the board, recognizes the importance of providing a quality education to the students of the Moriarty Edgewood School District and across New Mexico, and whereas the New Mexico Public Education Department, NMPED, has changed the public school calendars through the implementation of the 180-day rule, which significantly impacts the educational framework of school districts across the state. And whereas the New Mexico School Superintendents Association has initiated litigation against the NMPED challenging the legality and appropriateness of this rule. And whereas there is a profound concern that these changes by the NMPED may lead to a loss of local control over educational decisions and undermine the unique needs and successful practices of our school districts. And whereas there is a need for solidarity and a unified voice from school districts across the state in response to these proposed changes by the NMPED. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Moriarty Edgewood School District Board hereby declares its full and unequivocal support of the New Mexico School Superintendents Association and the legal challenge to the New Mexico Public Ed Department's proposed changes to the school calendar instructional hours. Be it further resolved that the board urges the NMPED to consider the importance of maintaining local control over educational practices and the need to preserve the successful educational systems that have been established in districts like ours. Be it finally resolved that this resolution be sent to NMPED, the New Mexico Legislature, and New Mexico Superintendents Association to express the board's support and stance on this critical issue and to emphasize the importance of collaborative decision-making in educational policy. Adopted this 21st day of May, 2024 by the Moriarty Edgewood School District Board. Okay. So, Madam President, members of the board, I recommend approval of the MESD School Board resolution of the 180-day rule.
Okay. Superintendent Bibiano has recommended that we adopt this resolution. Are there any questions or comments?
Is this being sent somewhere, or can you just tell me what the purpose is of the resolution? Like, are we sending it to the other schools?
We'll
they
send it.
know?
Where is it? The last piece here, finally resolved, this resolution will be sent to the New Mexico Public Ed Department, the New Mexico Legislature, and the Superintendents Association, who has initiated the lawsuit. Okay. No, it's okay.
Any other questions or comments? I need a motion to approve.
I move to approve the resolution.
A second? I'll second to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Passes.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Get signatures on those, and then we will submit them. Moving on to Learning Services, Director of Learning Services Board Report. Any questions for Mrs. Romero?
I had some, multiple. So, I was wondering about enrollment numbers. Do we know how those are looking for
Because it looks like returning was open April 15th, and then the new students was open May 15th.
Yes. Madam President, members of the board, Ms. Donner, we do not start looking at enrollment numbers until about middle of June.
Okay.
We pushed out the enrollment emails to parents, but sometimes it takes multiple reminders to get them to complete the enrollment. We will roll over our system the first week of July, and that's when we get really a little bit tighter on our numbers off of enrollment. But there are some families that do not re-register, and so we have to do a forced push with registration like right the week before school. So to go off of enrollment just off of that, it's not very accurate this early.
Oh, okay. So we'll revisit that then.
Yes.
And then I had another question on the school-based health center. It looks, I mean, it's awesome that minority kids are using it. I was just wondering if it's been pushed for Edgewood students and staff, if they're aware of it, and then how that works, because it looks like it's during the school day.
So, Madam President, Ms. Donner, members of the board, so the information about the school-based health clinic has been pushed out district-wide at least twice. We will do another push here in the next week with an announcement that we will be holding the availability of virtual hours for all district staff and students over the summer. And then we also got permission from Presbyterian Medical Services to move the, if somebody wants to go in, if they don't have device capability to do it from their home, they can go into the high school. So we are moving the actual sit-down computer portal to the high school. We will have a nurse, Mrs. Worthington, on staff for extended school year at the high school the entire summer, or for 8 weeks of the summer. And so they will be able to access the school-based health center during the summer.
Okay.
So there'll be one more push district-wide, letting everybody know about that opportunity. And then because hours are during the school day, we've had a few students, I believe it said it on there, access the center, and Miss Worthington has actually walked over to the high school and the middle school, picked up students, they walk over to the elementary, and then she walks them, escorts them back. We've had one access the just with parents picking them up and bringing them, but if it is an elementary student, they can just get passed down to the nurse's office, and it happens that way.
Okay, cool. And I don't know a whole lot about this, but like during the school day, if students visit, are parents notified that they were seen?
Yes.
Okay.
The only way that you can, they can't just go access the school-based health center. It has to be a prearranged appointment. Now it can be same day, but if a child goes to the nurse's office at 8:30, then the health assistant or the nurse would call parents and say, hey, we do have open clinic today. Would you like to schedule an appointment? And the nurse can then schedule that appointment with PMS provider. But it's in a whole separate room, and there's a whole separate provider or like nurse's assistant that does that and checks the student in. So it's not immediate same day, but it has to be pre-scheduled with parent permission.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I had another one.
I love it.
Yeah. So I was looking at the assessments on here, and I was noticing the end of year first grade math, level 1 jumped 28%, I think it said, right? From the beginning of the year. So I was wondering if we knew like what happened there, because that's a pretty big jump.
I'm just looking at the elementary schools because we all are in this predicament of love of iStation right now. So iStation does assess reading and math. And the math, and please speak up if you want to at any time, but the math assessment is, and the reading assessment, unfortunately right now, it is not a realistic
view of what our students are learning based off of the Common Core standards. So our teachers are teaching their guaranteed and viable curriculum, which is the content standards, and but our students are being assessed. Really, I'm going to say in an inaccurate measure of what they're learning at that time and space, or time in their environment. And so I also would like to say that the numbers could have changed because it might be different students. We do have a lot of mobility in the district, and so some of the students could have changed. And with 160 students being assessed, if we lose 5 students, that's a significant change in percentages. So there's a lot of different things that could go to that. But I will also say that the first grade math end of year assessment also measures, it really gets into that, it's moving up into that second grade standard at the end of the year assessment, correct? Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of the right grade level, correct? So it's measuring at a very high level where some of our first graders have not seen that content yet.
Okay. But they scored well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, so they'll see quick off their environment. So.
I was just wondering if there was something you could
Latch on,
magic.
Yeah, we saw that too, and we do have Madam President, Ms. Donner, members of the board. We do have how many elementary teachers signed up for June?
10.
Yes, 10 of our 8 teachers will be going to a 3-day math specific, starting off with the AEIS training. So maybe we can carry on that conversation of whether what assessments are being used, and then really look at enhancing our professional development on that.
The other thing that I would like to say specifically about the first grade, and give kudos to the principals and their staffs, they have all of 3 now have, Moriarty Elementary has had 2 years with Dora Vigil at CES, and she specifically works for in grades K2. Early learning numeracy and number sense. Route 66 has had this school year session, and then South Mountain has had now 2 sessions? 3 sessions, and teachers absolutely just rave about that professional development. So, while the numbers, you see a lot of red and yellow there. Those strategies absolutely are, as you mentioned, showing that they're working.
Great. And then for our middle school kids, it looked like math was below expected. That percentage was pretty high for 6th and 7th graders. So I guess maybe that will help them as well.
Yes, absolutely. I do have to say, I chose to put this expected growth rates in here because I thought that while those 6th and 7th grade numbers maybe not, are not as great as we'd like to see them, I really wanted to show that compared to where we were a year ago at the middle school level, at both middle schools in math, they just did an outstanding job. And they really are diving down deep and looking at data and really moving instruction to where it needs to be for our middle school students in math. So I wanted to, while I know we're not there, that blue was very powerful when you look at the expected growth.
Awesome. Thank you for answering all my questions. Excellent.
Thank you for all your questions. Yeah.
I look forward to doing more learning about it because we had that session before, but I want to do it again.
Follow it up.
Yes.
I think this is under you, Ms. Romero. The responsive classroom, was that part of your?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I really enjoyed that video, and I really like what I saw. And then I wondered if Principal Luz could address what she has seen in her school since you have implemented it this year, right?
Yeah, so we are, Madam President, members of the board, we are wrapping up our first year of implementation with responsive classrooms. So our staff went through the 4-day certification training last June, and then went into full implementation in August. Our main focus was one of the components of responsive classroom, which is morning meeting, which has 4 very specific components. It's a daily 30-minute session that we start our days with, and it incorporates skill building, relational building, lots of SEL, social emotional support skills, and we've seen it's just really enhanced our classroom, the cultures we build in our classroom, that cohesiveness among students, and built a lot of their listening and speaking skills. And we had always had kind of a morning meeting start to a day, if you will, but this really put structures and pieces around it. And then we had a mid-year check-in on what that implementation was, how we were doing, and got some feedback on that, and have some next steps on what continued implementation will look like. But we've had really positive feedback from our staff. The staff absolutely love the training. We're very excited to implement, and I will say it's something that sometimes you'll start something and kind of lose steam along the way, and that has not happened with responsive classroom, because it's the kids respond really well to the structures and pieces in that program, if you will.
Thank you. And the follow-on to that? Is there going to be training?
The next step.
Yeah.
So there will be a follow-up visit for Moriarty Elementary in the upcoming year. They came already for one visit, and then they will come again in the fall for another visit and give next steps for them. There's continuous training that can occur, and they happen, do you get the emails?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they happen virtually, and there is a follow-up core training that is another 4 days for the staff to take the entire staff to another level. Route 66 Elementary will begin their 4-day core training this June 3rd through the 6th. And very proud to say Ms. Thomas's entire staff said, yes, let's do this. I mean, every single staff member jumped in, and I think we only have 2 because they're going to be out of town that won't be able to attend. We're going to pick up some of Ms. Luce's new staff members that are, I don't even think they've moved here yet.
They're en route.
But they're coming so that they can also be trained. And so Route 66 will have their full training on, like I said, June 3rd through the 6th. And then we've already scheduled a follow-up in January for them to do an audit, if you will. It's a day full of observation, and then the consultant meets with the GC and gives data.
Good.
So there definitely is there's opportunity for continuous training in responsive classroom.
Thank you. That was very interesting. I really liked it. Yeah. Thank you.
The only thing I do have for your information that is not in the board report is every year I will present just some numbers to you about graduation. And so in the state of New Mexico, students that have special education services have 3 options to the diploma. In years past, they were called pathways to the diploma. They're back to options to the diploma. So there's a standard option, a career pathway option, and an ability option. And so IEP teams make decisions based on what option is best for every student, starting in their transitional year, starting at age 14 in New Mexico. The standard option requires students to meet all of the same requirements as a student that does not have an IEP or special education services. The career option requires that students meet the requirements, but they can do it in a different way. Instead of 5 or 4 English credits, 3 math credits, 3.5 history credits, their graduation course might look like
2 English credits and work study for 2 periods in an office. 3 math credits, including business math, not algebra 2. They might have not, history courses. They might have more career readiness options. So they still take the high school graduation assessment, but they might not have to meet, if there was criteria, as there has been in years past, they don't have to meet that specific number of the test. So there's just a little bit of leeway that IEP, and all of those decisions are made in IEPT meetings. The third option is ability option, and that requires students to meet the credit requirements. That option is for students who might take life skills classes, work studies classes, those types of things.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I just would like to let you know that we have 15 students that are graduating that receive special education services, which is a great number this year, and we're very proud. And they did it in 4 years. That's significant. And we have 2 students that are graduating on the career option. So,
Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Any other questions for Ms. Romero? No. She's a good one, right? No. Ms. Romero, thank you for that additional information. Good job. All right, and before we get there, I would like to move on to learning services, item 1. So Madam President, members of the board, I recommend action to Title I application. Mrs. Romero provided an informational video for everyone and some other summary during our work session on our federal title applications. So again, I recommend approval of Title I application.
Okay. Superintendent Viviano has recommended that we take action on Title I application. Does anybody have any questions or comments after viewing the? Okay. Is there a motion?
Motion that we approve the Title I application.
A second? I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes.
All right. Item number 3, same situation. You were provided information on an informational video, and Ms. Romero during the work session was available for any questions. And so with that, I would, Madam President, recommend approval of our Title III application.
Superintendent Viviano has recommended that we take action on Title III application. Any questions, comments on that one? No? I need a motion.
I move to approve.
Okay, a second.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
And then lastly, Madam President, members of the board, I recommend approval of our elementary fine arts application as presented during the work session.
Superintendent Viviano has recommended that we take action on the elementary fine arts application as presented earlier in our work session. Are there any questions? Comments? Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve the elementary fine arts application.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And it passes.
All right, moving along, thank you. Madam President, if I may, and members of the board, looks like we have one more student come in, Mr. Adams, and if we can, just honor and recognize Murray High School student?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Madam President, members of the board, through some miscommunication, and we're not sure where it happened, Elizabeth here got the message that the board meeting was still starting at 7.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry about that.
From Ms. Page. Just want to make clear who made the communication mistake. So I've already told her that she could get up and tell a little bit about herself, and she was a little shy about that. That I said that she's a National History Day kid, so I know she can do it in her sleep.
Hello.
Come on up.
We don't like.
What's your project?
Oh, sure.
Sorry, tell about your project.
Hello. So my name is Elizabeth Williams. So my theme, theme for this year was Turning Points in History.
And I did the project based off of a documentary, and so I decided that I would do a project on an war hero from World War I named Sergeant Stubby. He's a very famous dog from World War I. He was one of the lead roles for turning animals to be used more often in the military and used as service animals. So he warned of gas attacks and figured out where injured soldiers were beneath the rubble when the Germans would launch gas attacks or throw grenades into the trenches, which would cause a lot of rubble to go everywhere and a lot of soldiers would be buried. And Sergeant Stubby would risk his life going into action and saving those soldiers. And so he received, I believe it was he received a Purple Heart of Honor and received multiple rewards because of that. And he met 3 presidents, Wilson, Harding, and Coolidge. And he was in the YMCA and the Red Cross. So that's just a brief little part of it, because I'm not going to go into the entire scope of it.
How'd you do?
Best to say I did not place.
That's okay.
Because that was my first year doing it, so I was just trying to get a feel for it.
Did you learn more?
Yes. So I learned how to edit, so that was good.
Ready to do it next year?
Yes.
Good.
I'm going to try again with, a different type of project.
Yeah.
Maybe being a process paper, websites, or, maybe I may find a group of people to do an act with.
Yes.
Depends on who's going to join NHT next year.
Right.
Yes. Good luck.
Congratulations.
Correction, that's a middle school student.
Yes.
Happy with pages.
Oh. All right. Well, thank you for coming. Yeah.
Mr. Romero was too shy to get up.
All right. Madam President, members of the board, thank you for letting us pause there, and good luck.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right, moving on the agenda to business. Madam President and members of the board, I would like to recommend approval of our consent agenda finance items 1 through 3.
Superintendent Viviano has asked for consent of agenda items, finance items 1 through 3. Do we have a motion? Any questions?
I was just wondering what the Cooperative Education Services PO for $48,000, is that for a specific project?
Madam President, members of the board, yes. That is to put the equipment in this room so that we can broadcast our board meetings going forward.
It's now a bill.
I wasn't sure because it kind of looked like.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And then I was wondering, for the labor, there was a freight charge. Is that accurate?
The freight is to get the actual
transfer.
To get the equipment here for them to install.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? All right. Can I have a motion to approve the action agenda?
A motion to approve the consent agenda.
The consent agenda, yes. Sorry.
You good?
Thank you.
Mr. Lawson, motion.
You did make the motion?
I did make the motion.
All right, second. Sorry. I'm not hearing very well.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. My left ear is my bad ear.
What did you say?
I said my left ear is my bad ear, but I heard that. It is.
All right. So next in order is approval of the fiscal year 23-24 PD budget adjustment request. And Ms. Young, if you'd like to explain it.
Yes. Madam President, members of the board, with all of you being new, except for Ms. Hudson, I just would like to explain what happens at this time of the year is they cut off my opportunities to adjust my budget the adjustments that have to go through PED, they actually extended, it's usually June 1st. They actually extended it to June, I believe I put 14th on the memo, which is nice, but it's still before our next board meeting. This is the time of year that we start looking at things and making sure that things are cleaned up. If you remember when we had our audit in January, one of the things I got an audit finding for was I didn't have enough money in that line item to cover the 1% tax. So that's what I'll be looking at, seeing if I need to put more money in that line. I'll probably put more money in that line anyway this year because I didn't think I needed to last year and I still didn't have enough. But so as we look at all the accounts and see if there's anything else that needs to be cleaned up before that deadline, I just asked your permission to be able to submit those, and then I will bring them to you after the fact, but I will still bring them to you so you can see what I did.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Sure. So, Madam President, members of the board, I recommend approval of the fiscal year 2023-2024 Public Education Department budget adjustment request.
Superintendent Mediano has recommended that we approve the fiscal year 23-24 PED budget adjustment request. Any questions or comments additionally? All right, if not, I need a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the fiscal year 23-24 PED budget adjustment request. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. All those say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And it has passed.
Any opposed?
Any opposed? Sorry, missed that.
All right. Madam President, members of the board, we had a presentation during the work session to go over the 135-page report that is submitted by Mrs. Young to the New Mexico Public Ed Department. That is our NMPE budget for fiscal year 24-25. So with the presentation we had and the discussions, I recommend approval of the fiscal year 2024-2025 NMPED budget.
Superintendent Viviano has recommended for approval of the fiscal year 2024-2025 New Mexico PED budget. Are there any questions or comments additionally after we've had them? Okay. If not, I would like a motion.
I motion to approve the fiscal year 2024-2025 New Mexico PED budget.
Okay, and a second? I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It passed.
All right. Hit send.
Yeah, hit your send button. There you go.
All right. Madam President, members of the board, any questions for Mrs. Young under items D, E, F, or G?
No.
I have none.
No questions? All right. We move to personnel. Director of Personnel Board Report for Dr. Buckley. Any questions, comments?
I like the spreadsheet this time, knowing what happened with some of the hires and different things that happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, how's it looking moving forward to next year? Are we getting some replacements?
I would say it would be typical where we're at this time of the year.
Okay.
Yeah. So Madam President, members of the board, we did get some vacancies that will have to be filled. Just came into us yesterday. I think there was one of our teachers is moving away with family. We did have another retirement. We had heard maybe a retirement out of Mr. Jackson Beatty's school, and that has gone through. So this is the moving and grooving time of year for the personnel. Any other questions for Dr. Buckley?
And we're looking for a new band director, right?
And we have quite a few applicants. Most of them are out of state, I believe, and we have a few local. So.
Okay, that's good to hear.
No further questions, then we'll move on.
Thank you.
Support services, special projects, and other items. Thank you, Dr. Buckley. questions for transportation coordinator, tech coordinator, maintenance coordinator, or food services coordinator? No? Thank you. Cheryl? Yeah, good news? Okay, we'll share it. I'm drawing a blank. Her last name? Kelly. I was thinking Miss Cheryl. Miss Cheryl, that's it, right? Miss Cheryl Kelly, who has worked in student nutrition for many years, starting in one of our kitchens and cafeterias and moving around and worked her way into that department as a secretary, has been offered and she's accepted to be our new student nutrition coordinator for next year. Very, very well versed in all of the ins and outs of running that department. We sat down with her and we had a great conversation. She was very excited about that. She's already gone through with Mr. McCleve the audit, so Mr. McCleve will be moving on from that position of student nutrition coordinator. And it's nice to have someone with that experience and historical knowledge, as well as being able to work to and keep the network and connections that they've created throughout the state, because it is very important that we keep the connections and partnerships we have through different co-ops, and especially at the New Mexico Public Ed Department. So we're happy to announce that. Yes. All right. Moving forward to item F. Madam President and members of the board, we had some of the students in front of you earlier tonight. They are the National History Day students that will be going to Washington, D.C. So, Madam President, I recommend approval of out-of-state travel requests for National History Day to go to Washington, D.C. to represent Moriarty School District in these international competition on June 8th through 13th.
Okay, Superintendent Viviano has recommended approval for the out-of-state travel request for the NHD to Washington, D.C., June 8th through 13th, 2024. Any further questions in regards to that?
So we're just approving the travel, we're not approving anything along with that?
No, just being able to go on travel.
Permission to go, yeah. So, anything else? Okay, can I have a motion to approve this?
I'll move to approve the out-of-state travel for NHD.
I need a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion approved.
Excellent. They already got their trunks loaded and their trailers and everything ready to go. Yeah, tell them.
How many cars are going?
I don't know. A caravan.
Yeah, caravan.
All right, Madam President, nothing in the board policy during this meeting, and so we move to advanced planning. Request for discussion for items considered for the remainder of May, June, and July. I lumped it up. So we have the Moriarty High School graduation on May 24th. That'll be at the Moriarty High School gym. There are some other events leading up that we mentioned. The tomorrow night will be the student senior awards night, and then at noon on Thursday, in the morning of Thursday, we have the seniors walking through. That's always that's a fabulous event. They will go through the different schools. They have the band, they have the cheerleaders, they have Mirage, and so if anyone is interested still, I will keep you informed through text, like, hey, the seniors are at Route 66, right? Yeah, we have a schedule, I'll send it to you, but that schedule is always flexible, yeah,
Right.
depending on how many high fives or pictures are being taken. Yeah. But it's great to see the seniors go back to their old schools, for a majority of them that have been with us that long, through elementary and middle school. The New Mexico School Boards Association Law Conference, we've talked about that, and the schedule on and off for that.
Yeah, we also have CES.
Yeah.
As well, right?
So,
the CES is part of it. Yeah, it's gonna start on the 30th though, in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So,
Did I read the schedule wrong? I thought it was Wednesday from 12 to 5 and then
Right, it'll start on Wednesday in the
the
afternoon.
29th. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's the wrong day. I the wrong day. Sorry.
Yeah, because I'm worried about the staff appreciation and going to the conference, being in both.
Yeah. So register for the conference and then we'll confirm with Mr. Chavez, the CES. And everything.
Sorry. I thought.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
So you want to be there the right day.
Yeah.
And the extra morning of the 30th.
Got it.
2 times.
Okay. MESD staff end of year celebration. So I'd like to invite you to attend that with us. I have 8 o'clock here. We'll start with some breakfast items at about 7:45. It's kind of loose with the time. We're just there to have celebrate and have fun with the staff, and spend most of that day. After that day, a lot of them hit the airports or campers or RVs or whatever. They're gone. Yeah, so that'll be fun. A couple of hours together. We recognize staff members for their years of service. For those of you that may not have ever attended one of these, we recognize them for 5 years of service, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and beyond. We will recognize staff members that also are retiring and making other decisions as they move on in life, right? And then we have, and I thank you for getting back to me with your questions or talking about this individually. Our regular meeting for June 18th will be at 3 o'clock. So we'll get that pushed out and posted everywhere. And then our regular meeting will be moved from July 16th, that Tuesday, to Monday, July 15th, at 3 o'clock. Okay.
So that'll be a different day. And I would just back up and on the end of the year celebration, it is a lot of fun. I mean, they do have fun and games as well. So it is a lot. It's very exciting to go and see the teachers being appreciated and acknowledged for their time and service, and then end the year on a happy note.
Yeah.
Just
and
got
send them on their way.
Just got into the law conference a little bit. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, the time of the law conference is,
It's
like
off.
we said before, is usually the weekend after or something like that. But we have more fun than they do.
Yeah.
At the law conference.
Right.
All right. With that, Madam President, I recommend adjournment of tonight's regular meeting.
Superintendent Viviano has recommended that we close our general meeting tonight.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
A second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion passed. Adjourn the meeting.